Hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Denisha, but some people call me Niche. I'm a marketer in tech, but I am also the creator of the Chroma Network, which is an online platform for multifaceted women of color, making navigating adulthood fun. So we talk about everything from career to well-being to style and everything in between. And today's video is all about how to prepare for the virtual interview. So we're all at home right now, whether you're in college or you're working a full-time job, but we still kind of have to figure out how to work around all that and secure the bag from home. Being that we are in this virtual format, it can be difficult to showcase your personality and really connect in a way that feels genuine and organic. But don't worry, here are 5 tips for how to prepare for and ace the virtual interview. So the first one is to dress the way you want to be addressed. I know it's corny. I know you've heard it a million times, but it's the truth. Confidence is key. And I know for me, at least, I feel my best when I feel like I'm really polished and put together. You know, makeup, if that's something that you wear, is something that's really simple that adds a ton to my confidence. At least it doesn't have to be too over the top. It's just something very simple. Is something that can make you feel really good about the way you look that day. And then your outfit, you know, you really want to wear something that makes you feel comfortable and makes you feel the most confident and like your best professional self. But please, if you only take one thing away from what I say today, it's this: please fight the urge to dress from the waist up. I know we're at home. I know comfort is key, but just think about it. Like, you would never leave your house in like a blazer and a nice blouse and pajama pants with Ugg slippers. Like, it's just not something that you would do, because in the back of your head, you're like, this looks kind of silly. So why would you go into an interview setting, you know, something that's a bit more serious, has that gravitas? Like, why would you go into that setting, you know, dressed from the waist up? I think, from my opinion, obviously do what makes you feel good, but from my opinion, I think that that thought is still going to be in the back of your mind, and you're not going to be 100% concentrated on your interview. So to me, just get dressed that day. That can be your day of the week to put on your best outfit and feel your best and go in there and knock it out. Also, it's a psychological fact that people feel the most competent and even authoritative when they wear business formal. So I don't know, maybe try that out as well. Tip number 2 is to create a professional username. Platforms like Skype, you probably might not have used them in a few years outside of a need for an interview. So with that being the case, you definitely just want to do an audit of any platform, Zoom, Skype, and just make sure that your profile is up to par. So whether that be your profile picture or your username, make sure it's appropriate. So that can be your first and last name, first name dot last name, your initials. Any variation of that will work just fine. But, you know, usernames like Brooklyn Queen 123, Leo Baby, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. You just want to make sure that you have an appropriate username before you go into the interview. That way you have time to redo your profile if it's needed. Tip number 3 is to assess your body language. So we don't have those physical elements anymore, you know, things like a firm handshake or even your in-person presence. So now you have to exude that through the camera and through your computer screen. So things like your smile, good posture, even eye contact are going to make or break this. And you can hack eye contact. You can hack eye contact by looking into your computer lens instead of staring directly at the screen. Because depending on where you have your computer positioned, it can kind of create this illusion that you're like looking down. Now, and if you're speaking to someone and they're not looking you in the eye, they're looking at your shoes, what do you think about them? You're thinking that they don't have confidence, because why can't you look me in the eye? Why can't you look me in the eye? That's a little strange. So in order to hack this, and to me, this can even make you feel more comfortable, because now you're not looking at that person who's like judging you and has their future in your hands. You're looking at the camera lens instead. So try that out. It makes you look like you're looking that person directly in the eye, and it kind of takes some pressure off you. So to me, it's a win-win. And it's also proven that people, especially recruiters in this case, remember what you have to say more when you're making direct eye contact. So you have nothing to lose, if you ask me. Tip number 4 is to check your surroundings. This one is important. It's important. Not all platforms allow you to blur your background. Like, each video conferencing platform has its own capabilities. So one option is for you to buy a digital background. You can do this on Etsy, they're really affordable, or even Canva. I think you can make one. So there are a lot of options in that regard. But the easiest thing is to just clean up your space. Make sure you don't have things lying around, any bits and bobs, any mysterious pieces laying around your room. Make sure that your space or your background is just clear and free of distractions. You don't want to give that recruiter or hiring manager any other reason to focus on things that are not what it is that you're saying. You want all the attention to be on you. So just take a few minutes before you know that you have your interview and make sure the space is clean. And before you get on, just take a look in your FaceTime camera or even your Skype or Zoom preview and just make sure that you're okay with everything that's in view. You won't regret it. And tip number 5, practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. We know it. 10,000 hour rule. I mean, I wouldn't be doing 10,000 hours just for an interview. That's a little bit difficult, but you want to make sure you're putting that time in. To me, the virtual interview is really nice because it gives you a bit more flexibility than the traditional setup. You can do some prep. You can practice the answers to some of the most common interview questions. And then if you choose to write them down, then now you can have this journal or reference point of notes to questions that you very well might be asked. You want to be prepared to speak to your skill set, your strengths, and also any setbacks or weaknesses that you feel that you might have. So as I said with the notes, if you're comfortable, it's kind of good to have as a crutch, but it can also make you feel a bit more anxious if you have to kind of flip around and scroll through things. So it's really up to you. Use your discretion with what will make you feel comfortable, but just know that in that virtual setting, you have that option. And a notebook to me is also nice, even in person, because it allows you to take notes, and that just really makes it clear that you are listening intently and that you're very engaged in the conversation. And it also makes it easier for you to jot down any questions that you might have at the end of the interview as well. You just want to avoid sounding scripted. And that's why I think it's good to practice, because you feel more comfortable being in that setting where you have to be answering questions back to back. But given that the virtual setting can open you up to having your notes there, maybe they're on the screen, maybe they're on your desk, you don't ever want to just be reading them. It sounds very robotic, it sounds very unnatural, and it's also obvious. It's obvious. They can tell that you're reading, So try to avoid that and don't read your answers word for word. You can just have them there as a point of reference if you get stuck. So that is it. Those are our 5 tips. I know it can be tough interviewing in this format exclusively. You might feel like you can't showcase who you are and really bring it all to the table, but what can we do? We just have to pivot and we have to learn how to adapt. And there are some pros. There aren't only cons. You have the flexibility. You can prepare in advance. You're in your home, your own comfort zone. So don't just look at the bad, look at the good. And now you have all these tips. You have an arsenal of tips to help you in your virtual interview. And that is also why I created our free guide for the Chroma Network called Let's Talk About You. It's free and it shows you how to answer one of the toughest interview questions, in my opinion, which is tell me about yourself. It shows you how to craft a structured answer that reads well with tons of confidence. I would download it. It's free. I'll leave the link to it in the description. So that's it for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.